Go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on day 2. We figured out there was a problem yesterday. For those of you who are only watching the video, you'll see that things ended somewhat abruptly yesterday. I thought it was an internet issue, and I quickly found out it was not the case. I didn't know what it was, but Zoom crashed, and I wound up being able to get on the internet right away, trying to figure things out, and then got an email from Zoom this morning that they had a power out or a power disruption yesterday, service disruption, not power, service. So I can only assume that something went wrong on Zoom's end. Fortunately, the video was not corrupted, and it's up on my YouTube channel, and hopefully you all received that email yesterday. So fingers crossed we won't have any problems today.
Right, and it happened literally 2 minutes at the end of class when we were
right at the end.
So you're not missing anything.
Nobody missed anything. You just missed me talking a little bit and saying goodbye. So that was fortunate. All right, so today we're going to get started. I mentioned that we're going to use a lot of different tools today. So yesterday we kind of talked about how to create a cohesive alphabet. And today we're going to switch gears and just do all different types of letters, just playing with your inks. If you want to try on nicer papers, I've got all my tools ready. I've got my inks ready. So get that stuff ready if you need to, or you can just watch and learn and then try it later. It's up to you. So I am going to switch gears here and go to my camera. Okay. You know what? I realized I can do this and get closer. There we go.
You are right reading and in focus, but you're zoomed in.
Yeah, I am zoomed in. I just tried something with, I'm going to zoom out like that. All right, I'm going to keep it like that. That seems to be the better way. Okay. So welcome to day 2 of Fun and Funky Letters. And I'm going to brighten my light. Let's see here. I discovered that yesterday. That's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Okay, so we are going to work on exercises. Let's see here. 4. We're going to start with exercise 4. We're going to do 4, 5, and 6. So one of the things I like to do when I'm just playing is I like to use my own handwriting or a version of it. And I try to change it up a little bit. And these are the exercises that I like to do that, to change it up. And we're going to try, I'm going to use, let's see, I'll start out with my Brody tool. It's my favorite, you know that. And the first thing is, oh, real quick, before I get started, somebody asked me, they emailed me and asked how to do using a ruling pen to create certain letters. And I don't know if I have this in here. My whistles far and wee. I don't think that's in this handout. Anyway, she asked. Yeah.
I was going to say you can also add it in the email after class.
Yeah, I will do that. But she asked how to use a ruling pen to draw letters. She had sent me a picture of some drawn letters. And if you look at this letter in your handouts, this letter C, I'll zoom in on that. This was done with a ruling pen. This one was drawn with a ruling pen. So I'm going to show how to do that very quickly because she was a little confused as to how to do that. Now, I have to say that this is not my favorite tool for drawing letters. I would much rather use my pointed nib. Whoops.
Can you zoom out?
Yep.
Oh,
I would much rather use a pointed nib to draw the letters. There's a lot more control. This was a class that we took with Stephen Rapp, who was he's an artist that used to work for American Greetings, and it was all a ruling pen class, and he was showing us how to use different techniques. So this is where I created those letters, and you hold it up very upright. Let me go out.
You're off screen. Thank you.
Yep. I'm zooming out. So you hold it upright, almost perpendicular to the page, and then you draw in a very monoline way. You know, you can do something like this. So you can get very precise if you want. However, you know, I feel like if I want even thinner than this, I would much rather use a tool that is finer pointed than this. So I tend not to use this. Oh, can you not see?
No, we can't. Can you also show how you use it on the side?
Yeah, I will. But this one was the specific request was how to get, like fine caps using a ruling pen like this. So I'm just, right now, I don't know, playing around here, making a letter. Okay. So that's how I use the on its tip. It also tends to, because it's sharp on the ends, it tends to pick up the fibers of the paper. So one of those things that I'd rather use something finer point than this one to actually create my letters. But anyway, that is how I would create them with a ruling pen, okay? With the tip of the ruling pen. The other way, obviously, is to use it when you hold it on its side like this in your hand and you're scraping it like this. Okay, so I'm actually scraping. Here's a push stroke. Here's a pull stroke. Whoops. You can get wider depending on how much ink that you have. You got to be careful because this thing will hit the paper if you really rock back too far with it. So it's not my go-to tool just because I have more flexibility with the Brody pen. But even with Brody's tool, it's got such a nice sharp point that if I were to do letters like this, I would probably just use the Brody one because the point is so nice. So, I could do the same thing. There we go. A really fine line with the Brody tool. If I wanted to do something like this, kind of a goofy looking letter. But I'm drawing with it, and then I would just fill it in. I could fill it in with this or fill it in with the side if I want. Okay, it's a very versatile tool. So, and I like the point on this one better, and it doesn't scratch the fibers of the paper. So I would be using something like this instead of the traditional ruling pen. The ruling pen in question was a Rolf, I think ROLF, that she was asking about. And I am not familiar with that. If anyone is, maybe we can show it. I don't know if Elka is on with us, but she could maybe show a picture of that later. Because I'm not familiar with the Rolf. But anyway, that's how you can use a ruling pen. But I really, really love the fact that this is my traditional ruling pen. And in order for me to get the wide strokes, I have to hold it like this and then come up, on the tip like this. But Brody's pen is so versatile that I just don't even use that thing anymore because I've got the three choices. I've got the point, I've got the medium, and I've got a real thick. So that's why that's my go-to tool right now. All right. So hopefully that answers the question. And if not, somebody can type it in the chat and let me know. All right. So now today we're going to try these different exercises to help us get to different letter forms. And that's the exercise. The first one is writing spiky and very condensed. All right, so I'm just thinking of a word here. Let me go to my page. On page, where's my list of phrases? I think they're at the end. Page 21. You have a list of phrases. I always like to just choose from. By the way, I need to scratch out one of these. Karen reminded me. We found out that this is a bad word in Spanish, so I apologize to any Spanish speakers. I thought I got it from this website that it said it was another word for a whatchamacallit, or a thingamajig, and it's not. So cross that word out because it's a really bad word in Spanish, I found out.
Yeah.
Anyway, need to take that out of my handouts.
Yeah, really.
So I'm gonna just do some silly phrases or something here. Let's see, what's a good one I haven't done in a while. We'll do say
How about hang in there?
What?
How about hang in there? I
did hang in there just recently for my other class. So.
By the way, someone just wrote in the chat, very bad word. Laugh out loud.
Okay, so they know. I apologize. I thought it meant thingamajig. It does not. See, you
That'll-
never believe what you read on the internet.
That'll teach you to trust Google Translate.
That's right. Well, I didn't translate it. Somebody else must have translated it. All right. So I'm going to write, you are, what did I say I was going to do? C'est la vie. So spiky and very condensed in my handwriting. So my handwriting, whatever that means, because my handwriting is my formal handwriting, my signature is not what I'm talking about. But, you know, I like to do this kind of, you know, free form stuff like this. And then, you know, one could call this my handwriting, but it's a very stylized version of my handwriting. Okay. So let's just say that's my handwriting. All right. So when I say spiky and very condensed, I'm going to change my letters now to reflect spiky and condensed. So I'm going to squish those letters together a little bit more. So this would be my spiky, very condensed. I might do my L like this with no loop, spiky A, spiky E, okay? So that's what I mean by spiky, very condensed, okay? So when I do stuff like this very condensed, it's really fun because then I come into, like, I like that shape of this E, and I like the way I did the bowl there, or I like that S and crossing into the T. So I discover new ways to do stuff like this. Might be a really nice way to do a ligature for, you know, if I was going to write the word street, I might do something like this. Okay. You find different ways to come into letters when you do exercises like this. You know, I like my C, so I might do something like calligraphy, might do something like this. Maybe I'll come up with a loop and do something like that. Oops, too much ink. Okay, so just playing around, you know, I like this. I like what happened here. And that'll lead me into other ways to make letters. So, you know, it's kind of fun. I like what happened with the L because it kind of blobbed together there. I love this mark right here. So working like this will help me think of new ways to make letters, okay? That was spiky, very condensed. And the next one is rounded handwriting. All right, so I'm gonna I'll write my normal one again. Here's my normal way, sort of normal. Okay, and now my rounded handwriting might be like, I might really get rounded. Okay, so really a lot more, you know, really rounded with loops. And I mean, this could even get bigger if I wanted. This is a big bowl on the E, okay? So that's what I would do for my rounded. You know, and even experimenting with rounded, I might even do something like this. Doing a cap E or something, going into an S like that. Okay. So that's another one. Alternating lowercase and caps throughout. This is something I really like to do. And then I would maybe do my T like this. Oh. Okay. I'll do the cap over here, okay? What's another word I can do? Serendipity. Whoops. maybe go into this as a lowercase here, and then come up here and do an uppercase R. Do something like that. Maybe an uppercase E right here. Lowercase n. I'm going to do a lowercase d. Oh. Oops.
And if you can please shift left.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get that over there.
Right. So when you say alternate, you don't mean every other one. You mean
No,
each
not
of-
necessarily. No,
Yeah.
just incorporating them, but not every other letter, you know, not evenly, just here and there, adding some caps in there, alternating lowercase. Okay. So that's what I mean. Just throwing in some caps where you think it might look good. Again, this is very free form lettering. This isn't, I'm not using a hand that I created. I'm just using my handwriting and switching it up, you know, and playing with different letter forms. So it's not like I'm looking for a cohesive alphabet or anything here, okay? Gestural writing, if you want to call it that. All right, and then exaggerated characteristics. So I'm going to write a phrase, let's see. Live passionately. So exaggerated characteristics might mean like a really big cap and maybe a smaller X height, and then really flourish, like throw up a stroke like that, exaggerated. If any of you have taken Akeem, so you know when I do my variations, we stretch certain letters. You know, you could stretch your E if you want. That would be an exaggerated characteristic, okay? Throwing the flourish down for the P and going into my A, might do something like this. Maybe doing a larger O. Stretching, you know, the connection into my next letter. Throwing a flourish on the crossbar there. And then maybe coming down like this and crossing over like that. So these are exaggerated characteristics, really throwing a stroke up here, really stretching one of the letter forms there, or stretching this connection into another. So think about where you can add some passion, if you want to call it that, add some exaggeration to your characteristics. Some wide letters, some narrow. So you might want to try, you know, let's see, what would be a good word? Humongous. So doing some letters, and we do this in Akeem, some letters condensed and some letters we stretch. So I'm taking a wide letter, making a wide letter. And another condensed letter. And then maybe we widen the O. And we do the N narrow. And we widen the G a bit and come down. Do the U. And then we do this, okay? This is not Akeem, but Akeem does this where it stretches certain letters, okay? But you can do that where you alternate thin and wide letters. So stretch and condense your letter forms. So that would be an exaggerated characteristic as well, all right? Bold, light sequence. So this is where you can, especially with a ruling pen like this, you can alternate your letters. Let's see, psychedelic. You know, I might do a thin P, and then maybe do a wide, oops, S. And then maybe do a thin Y. And maybe My stroke is thin here, and I widen it as I come up like that. And then maybe I do my wide stroke up on the top of my E. And do something like that. And I've already done an E like that, so maybe I do an E where I do this. So I've got light, bold, light, a light here, bold there, light, light, bold, light, light, bold. So I'm just kind of bouncing my bolds. Let's see here.
Bounce the bold.
What's that? Bounce the
your
bolds.
bold.
Bounce my bolds. Touch that up a little bit. And then we can make a decision. I think I want to keep my I thin, and I'm going to do my C thick. Okay. So using a tool like this, or even your, like a folded pen like this, or your Cola pen, like this, you can get those bolder strokes with the same tool and then lighten up on the tip. So just trying alternating bold light is kind of fun. Also, you find new ways to make letters too, like that's a really fun E. That might be a nice way to do a piece or something. Okay. So that's bold light sequence. And then writing small letters with long joins, and then numerous times with different joins. So there's a word, let's see, I like to use. It's not on here. I'll use meander. I like meander. So I might do, going back to my handwriting style. So say this was meander for me. Small letters, long joins. Okay, so there's one of my, like using my handwriting. Small letters, long joins. Well, then I would change it up and just say, okay, let's see what happens when I do a different join into my E. So I might do something like, how can I get into the top of that E? This, up. Let's see, how can I get into the E in a different way? Oh, I could do an E from down and then make this the E like that. So now I went down and up instead of down and into the middle there. And then I might stretch this one out to my A and come into my A from the top. Maybe do that. And go up, swoop up into my N. Instead of swooping down into my N, I can now swoop up and do this. And maybe, do this. Now, the only way I can get into the next letter with the D is I'd have to make a loop. So I could do that if I wanted and add a loop and then come into my E like this. And then do your R. So yeah, the only way you can get from a D into a next letter is you have to put a loop on it, because you don't usually link. Once you throw your, once you throw that flourish up for the D, or that's the ascender like that, if you come down like this is a weird link into another letter. I don't usually do that. I don't usually link from the bottom of that letter. So, but I mean, you can try it if you want, but to me, that looks a little awkward. I don't like this one. Okay, like that. So this is an exercise I like to do where I play around. Now, I always kept this first hump condensed. That's my favorite, because when I do this and make that first hump wide and make this one, it doesn't read right to me, but you can try it if you want. Oh, also, I got stuck there, because my only other way I could connect now would be to go like this, which, I don't know, maybe that's not so bad. I'm coming in from the top. I don't know if I like that connection, but that is an option where you can come from the bottom of the M come up and swoop up and come into the top of the E, and then figure out how to make your E. And then you come into your A, again like this. And then there's only two ways I think you can go into your N. You either come in like this and swoop in, or you come up like this and do down. Even if I do something like that, I'm still going into the top. Let's just continue with this. We'll go like that. Let's see what happens. So this one was a swoop that did this, but we actually could keep these swoops all the same too and do this. We could do that if you wanted. Again, I would not connect from here, but one could. It would look like this. So if you wanted to keep these swoops or these connections all the same, you could do this, this. So those are an option too, okay? So anyway, this is what I mean by doing small letters with long joins and doing them different ways. Numerous
Julie,
times.
there's a question what you would do if there was an R in the middle of the word.
Yeah, so the R is one of those letters that if you make it like this, you can't connect. So what if it was, we'll just do the word, oh no, let's see, what's a good one in the middle here? How about yourself? No.
How about yourself?
Okay, well, be yourself. So anyway, I'll just do the your. So if the R is in the, see now here, it's like the only way I can connect from the Y is if I do something like this, okay? Go into your U, you go up into your R like this. You cannot connect from an R like that. So you have to either, you know, make it look like a connection and go into your S maybe like this, or an S like this, and then you connect from the bottom into your E, up into your L, and then up to your F, which would look something like that maybe, okay?
Julie,
So,
what about more cursive R?
Well, hang on. The other way to handle the R is if you do this. Do an R like this.
Yeah.
All right, so you could do something like that. All right, this is not my favorite here. I don't like this type of connection. If I were doing the word yourself in mine, it would look more like this. I would not connect from here. I might do something like this where I go into my S, come out and come into my E. Whoops, too much ink. Maybe put a loop there, maybe not. And then do something like this with my F. I wouldn't come to that point. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't like this sort of thing for my F. I wouldn't do that. So if I go into my F, I might do something like this. Oops. Yeah, this connection bothers me. So maybe that would just be E, L, and I might do something like that and do a pause there. I wouldn't connect up into that one. Okay. All right. What was the question?
That was it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, when you told me to hang on a second, I had asked what about the cursive R?
Oh, okay. All right.
And then you said hang on a second.
So that's what I would do with the cursive R. And again, if you want to add loops, you know, to get to from your descenders, that's also your option because this is a cursive. I'm right now we're working with a cursive hand, so you can totally add a loop to get into your next letter. You can also do something like that and just end that R right there, and then do your loop or your S like this. And then do a pause there. And then do your F like that, okay? This tends to be more my style here, where I won't always connect the letters. I'll come down with something here, come down here, have a pause here, okay? You can also do, you know, something like that if you want. All right? Okie doke. So that is exercise number 4. Writing, so we did those 4. That's with your cursive. So that's how to just kind of change up your cursive a little. There are other ways to change up your cursive, but I find those are my most, go-to, especially exaggerated characteristics, doing stuff like this. I love to try this type of thing. I just watered my sumi down a little.
Thank you.
Swooping up like this, kind of in the modern handwriting style, which, is kind of a weird way to get into another letter. But this is where I'll start to be a little bit more free form and come up like this. Okay.
Can you please pull your sheet down?
Yep.
Thank you.
Starting to write really big here, so now I'm getting a little off the page there. Okay. All right. So that's for changing up your cursive. Now we're going to get into the exercises where you use one tool, and we're going to choose, I'm going to choose one letter of the alphabet. You can try your own letter if you want. And we're going to try to create 10 different variations, okay? Using one tool.
Page 5, exercise 5.
Yes, thank you. Now I'm going to just stick with this one. So what letter haven't I done recently? I should choose something that's a little bit more challenging.
K, M.
Let's do Emma.
Q.
What's that?
Okay. No, I was throwing out letters. K, M, Q.
Yeah. M might be a good one. There was that P that I did yesterday that I really liked. I wonder if I could do something like that. All right, so I'm just going to start doodling basically, and playing. I'm adding a little bit of distilled water to my Sumi ink because I'm noticing that it's not flowing very well through the pen. So this Brody pen, it seems to act better when I just slightly water down my Sumi ink. I notice if it gets really thick, it starts to not flow very well. So, all right, so I'm going to do an M. So let's just kind of like what I was doing already. I might do something like that. Maybe that's just my first letter, where I take one bowl and do this and stretch it. I could go back and add thickness to it if I want. And come up here. I'm just playing with this. And if I want, I could add feet, serifs. And you can see I'm just kind of drawing with that tip right now, okay? So maybe that's just number 1. That's it. What if I kind of do something like this, kind of twisting my pen a little bit, and maybe I come up like this. Dragging my pen in a funky way. Now, you're not going to like everything you do. We're just playing. We're just seeing what the tools do, okay? So I don't necessarily like that very much, but you know what? I might come up with something that I do like just by playing with that twisting tool. So maybe I'll try that again and twist it in a different way. I don't know. And then maybe I'll just do somewhat of a traditional kind of ruling pen M, and maybe come down with the flick like that. And let's try the wide side. What happens when I do that? I'll come up on my tip. I'll do the wide again. Oops. Oh, sorry. Come up on the tip. And through my wide again. I don't know. All right, let's try another one. Let me zoom out here. Oh, I am zoomed out. Okay. So one of the things that I should probably talk about here is we know that the M has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, if you want to call them that. 4 lines that create the letter M. How can we manipulate those lines? So thinking back to what we were doing yesterday with shapes, you know, if I wanted to manipulate these shapes or these lines, you know, I'm looking at a triangle basically, 2 triangle shapes, right? I could manipulate those 2 triangles in a certain way. Like I could round the triangles. Thinking back to our negative, when we were creating letters with just the negative shape. So my triangles could become something like this. And then how would that look when I created a letter form? You know, I can make them squattier like this. So all those exercises we did yesterday are some of the things I want you to think about now is, you know, I could manipulate these shapes to look like this. The 2 humps could look like that. And if that were the case, you know, then how would I create a new letter form? So if I think about this as 4 different lines or 2 shapes, like 2 triangles or 2 humps, then I can start playing with those shapes and manipulate them. So if this were triangle number 1, and then this is triangle number 2, that's the inside of my M. What would my M look like if I were to create something like that? It might look like this. Okay? And if you want, you can do something like this, where you throw that up. You could do an M like that if you want. Okay? But I'm just thinking of that shape and then manipulating my tool to create a funky triangle here and then this stretched out triangle here. You know, if my shapes were like this, what would my M look like? So it might look something like this, which is close to what I did the first time. Okay. So you might want to try something like that and maybe do a stroke out like that. All right. So that's how I'm thinking. When I'm creating these, I'm just kind of playing with the shapes, the negative spaces in my mind and how they're going to look. Let's do a few more. You know, and then you could come back and add thickness if you want. This could be called flame. Where would I want to put my thickness? Maybe here. And then maybe like this. Could do something like that. All right, let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
Yeah, those triangles don't count in your 10.
No, I know. Thank you for holding me accountable. 6.
Sure. Hey, an assignment's an assignment.
I know. All right, so let's do something already done something like this, I think. I try things and then I don't really like that. Like I like this. I think that was kind of fun. Let's try this. That looks like a swooping bird. Don't like that. Maybe something like that. That's more of like of an Akeem M. So that where I scraped the wider part and then did that. Maybe I would do something like that, maybe, and clean that up later. Do that. Actually, that's not so bad. It could be kind of fun. I would want that to taper a little bit more. Like I would change that up a little bit more, but this is kind of fun. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that right there. Let's see. Add some thickness there. Refine that. Come down like that. I could curl it if you want. I don't know if I would do that right there. I think I'd stop it. I like it where it stops right there. I think I would stop it there. That gets a little too curly looking for me. You know, and then, you know, I remember I made that kind of like Q shape yesterday, something like this, right? You know, I might think about doing maybe an M where it's more solid. You know, maybe my M is just a solid form like that and I fill it in with color later, or maybe varying the line. If I don't fill it in, I could just make variation on the line. But this could be a completely solid M where you just fill in with color. All right. So that's doing 10 or whatever I've done, more than 10. Different M's, not necessarily all, you know, ones that I like, but I did find a few that I liked. I have a few that I would maybe go back to. This is kind of fun. This has potential, maybe. This one has potential. I like that one, the flame one. I might go back and do something with that. Okay. All right. Yeah. So now we're going to try 2 different tools and making 10 letters with 2 different tools. So I would try to pick something that had a little bit more contrast. So maybe a broad edge tool and a pointed tool. So maybe I'll use
exercise 6.
Pardon?
Page 5, exercise 6.
Thank you. Yeah, so you could do something like with a broad edge tool and a pointed nib. You can use a Cola pen and a pointed nib. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this. We also could use a broom bristle pen. Maybe I should show the broom bristle. That might be nice. Let's do the broom bristle. Where is my broom bristle? I just had it here. My desk is starting to look a little messy here. All right, so I'm gonna do a different letter for this. What would be a good one with my broom bristle? How about the E? I haven't done an E in a while. I'm just gonna do an E, and then I might just, you know, take advantage of the fact that I've got these nice scratchy lines and, you know, maybe continue them a little bit. Maybe do something here, here. Kind of continue that out. I'm just kind of dragging some of the ink that I've already got on here and dragging that out. You know, and if you want, you can add little splatters, little dots. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit on that one. There you go. A little bit better. Broom bristle E. Now you're gonna, broom bristle might not be the best letter for this because I'm gonna keep getting the same type of look. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I kind of like what's happening here. I might draw that.
Julie, can you maybe zoom out a little bit or pull your
Sure.
paper down?
Yeah. Kind of like that I got this kind of other E formed here. Might do something like this. And then this could be like something where you have this E happening here and then maybe this E gets filled in with a different color or something. Kind of like this. Yeah, this might not be this isn't the most versatile of tools, so you're always going to get kind of this scratchy look. So that might not be my best choice for this exercise, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, do I always want to do scratchy lines or do I want to try something different? So let's try something different. And play with something like that, where you have this kind of organic line going into that E of that bowl like this, maybe. That's interesting. I don't know if it's good interesting or bad interesting. You can refine that a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. That's 4 of them. Let's see. Again, I don't think I'm getting much variety with this. Let's try this. Might stop it right there. Could come out with this. So that's probably not going to be a tool that's going to give me a lot of variety. So I think I'm going to switch to a different tool. But anyway, that's kind of something you can come with. I'm going to switch to a different tool because broom bristle's not my favorite. Let's
Julie,
try. Yeah.
So while stitching and you're doing your E's, there's a question about how you would tackle simple letters like the O or the I or the capital L.
Yeah, so, well, the I, you probably already have seen. I did a sheet of I's and O's in here. The I is hard because the I is just like, what do you do with the I? Maybe I'll do the I. I'll do some different things.
Right, Julie's on page 6.
Yeah, page 6 is shows you I have already done O's and I's. Oh, I already did E's and M's too. Huh. Okay. Let's try the I. Let's see what we can do with the I. So I'm going to switch to, let's see, what should I try? I'll do a broad edge tool. Let's see what we can do with the I. So I kind of have this breaking up thing here. You know, you could do a swooping eye like that and then come in if you want and touch up. You could leave that broken up if you want, or you can go in ahead and fill it. I might, in this case, because I don't really like how that broke up, I would just go ahead and fill that in. And then I use my pointed tool just to kind of clean up. In this case, you know, I might do something where I use my pointed tool to come in and just refine certain things like this. So the two tools here, you're not really necessarily seeing, you know, the benefits of the pointed nib. It's not really becoming a feature. I'm just using it to touch up my edges. Draw something like that. Okay. So that could be an eye right there. Also, you know, you saw an eye like this in my handout where I did something like this with the, you know, that kind of thing with the dot. You can add some serifs to it if you want. Let's see here. Maybe do something like that. And maybe come up like that. Cleaning it up a little bit. Oops. I want to keep that open there. A little too close there. You know, and then you could draw in a little dot if you want. Holding the tool in a different way. Could do my eye like that. And then use my pointed nib to maybe refine these if I want. Maybe make a more pleasing shape. And you can keep that as a cap. Yeah, it does look like a dumbbell. I was just thinking that.
Totally.
You could keep it as a cap, or you can, you know, put a dot over it. Okay. Oh, what else for the I?
Can you zoom out, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Jagged line?
Jagged line. Oh, like this? Or like this?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you could try that if you want. Something like that. And then use your nib if you want to go in and extend things or clean them up.
Nice. Alyssa's suggesting 3 thin parallel lines and then a thick dot.
3 thin parallel lines.
And then a thick dot. Nice.
3 thin, like this.
Yeah. I think she meant vertically, but go for it. Yeah, bring it, pull down, make him, make those your.
Make them longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a big old dot.
Yeah.
You could do that, or you could fill it in. You could also do this. If you want to come back and add something to it.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I don't know how nice, but you could go in and fill that. I kind of like what's happening with this one. This is kind of fun. Extend this a little bit more. And then I don't know if what you would do for a dot on this one, maybe something like that, kind of rock it. Something like that. She falls off the page tonight. Oh, I'm falling off the page.
Yeah. No, actually, I was just going to let you go because you were pushing it to continue making more letters. And then I was
yeah, right. So let's try, you know what? Let's try something. We'll start with this one and see if we could do something with this tool. Well, I'll use a smaller broad edge tool. I'll do this one. Maybe I can go in with this. Well, I could have just drawn it with this instead of going in. I was thinking I could add the thickness to that inside of that stroke, but that's not working. Like that. Maybe I add the thickness like this. And then come back and do something like this. But I kind of like this one too. This one I would probably just draw that with the pointed nib. Bring this down like this. So we could do that. A little bit bigger dot on that one. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more.
Someone said that looks Arabic. Yeah.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's another way to do it. The swoop of the Arabic. I did that alphabet. I did like a Western alphabet in an Arabic way in a Massimo class once. We did something like this. So you could do an I like that. Kind of like the Akeem kind of thing. Do something like this. And then your dot could be,
Like a diamond, really like the Arabic.
yep, you know, something like that. I got smeared. And then I would clean this up with my tool, which I smeared this letter, so it's way too thick at the bottom there. But you could also, let's see if I can get that a little bit nicer, thin there. Oops, that's not good. I want that to taper a little bit more. Like this here. And then maybe just leave that. And then I would do the diamond shape up there. So that eye would be more like this shape here. Could do that.
I know. Julie, there's a question, and here your name is Julie. I'm sure you've never done capital J's.
Capital J?
I'm sure you've never done those.
Oh, yeah. I've done lots of J's. We'll do a few of those, and then I will. What time is it?
We have
12.
an hour.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this thing to work for me. This is a pen that Karen made for me. But I was having a little trouble with the balsa wood flopping. Hers is really nice and stiff and mine isn't. So, but I was able to get a few things done with it. Let's see. You know, we could do a J like that and have that break up a little bit there. I don't know. But then if I wanted to come with a second tool, what would I do? I could do the scratchy, you know, if I want. I don't know if I want to do that to this letter form though. I don't think this really enhances anything. Nah, I don't like that. Scratch that. All right. I think the balsa's not quite working the way I want it to work. So let me just go to something different. What's a tool I haven't tried today? Oh, how about this one? I'll go with the Dreaming Dogs. I don't know if you're familiar with this one. Dreaming Dogs is another set of ruling pens. There's 6 of them. I like number 3 because I don't have anything like it. It's got this rounded kind of tip. Kind of gives me more of a monoline type of thing. But I can rock back on the side and then kind of rock on the tip. Oh, sorry. And then rock up on the tip. So it's not a very wide ruling pen. It's a very narrow one. It's giving me a very narrow stroke. But it also does things like this. You know, it splatters. Whoops, I'm off the page again. Splattering. You could do that. Those kind of moves. This kind of move. And it gives you, it's not a very wide tool. You're not going to get very wide with it. But so for example, for my J, you know, might do something like that. And then if I wanted to do a second tool on this, you know, I might, I don't know what I would do with that. Let's just do something a little funkier. Let's see here. Might do something like that. You know, maybe a J like that, and it kind of looks like an S. Let's see. Where's my pointed tool? Okay. I do with this. That's better. That doesn't look like an S so much. And then if I want, I could come add a little dimension to this. And extend this a little bit. All right, maybe that's it for that one. And then let's see. Like that. What would be fun to do with this one? I feel like I do that too much. Yeah, no.
How about something very curvy, juxtaposed against the blocky,
Something curvy.
Dreaming Dog, block letter. No, the blocky Dreaming Dog J, and then something very curvy with the pointed pen.
Oh, do the pointed pen first?
No. Do you make that block J, like you did with the Dreaming Dogs? Make that block letter.
Yeah.
Dogs, and then with the pointed pen, do something curvy.
Oh, curvy around it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Like a block letter J like this. And then curved lines around it.
Exactly. Something more swirly. Exactly.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
And then more contrasty.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Getting way too crazy there. Yeah. Nah. Not Julie's thing there. But this has some promise. Like I might go in and maybe do something like that. Maybe. And you could leave it just as is, or you could go and put color in later. I don't know. I feel like maybe I need a little bit more contrast. So something like doing that maybe with this tool. Excuse me. And then maybe cleaning this up here. Excuse me, I'm just drinking.
Yeah, I feel like I want to bring you water or tea.
Yeah, I mean, do something like this, just cleaning up that stroke. I kind of like that stroke that happened with this. You know, what if I do something like this? No. I need something like this. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Like leaving that little gap right there that was created with the tool. Leaving this kind of organic line, that's kind of fun. And then maybe all right, no. I have a tickle. Yeah, I kind of like what happened with that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That broken line on top, I like very much.
Yeah. You know, just doing something really goofy like this even might be kind of fun with that
Zoom
day.
out, please.
What?
Zoom
Oh,
out.
I'm off the page.
Yeah, you can zoom out, please. Thank
Way
you.
out. So I just did this one. Twisting this pen, giving me these kind of weird shapes like that. You know, and then maybe extending this. Extending this. That's giving me a little bit more variety, I think, than that Dreaming Dogs was giving me. This probably could be done with just the one tool on its edge. And you can refine this one if you want. It's kind of fun. Get a little bit of a bounce there, or a little bit of a ragged line. So yeah, so and you also can come in, you know, later too if you wanted, and maybe add a little shape here. It could be one of these kind of letters if you wanted, where you add a couple little things like that. Add a little bit more. I don't know.
Julie, are you up for another letter or are you going to move on?
Sure. Nope, I'm fine.
The letter is S.
Yes. All right. And then I just want to look at my notes here. Well, this is basically what we do. We do this because we're trying to figure out different ways to make letters. So letter S. Let's try my pointed brush. And that's not working. There we go. Maybe we want to try an S. Let me just make my moves here. All right, so just trying to get some movement. Do something like that. There's a mess. We could do it like an Akeem, where you come from the bottom, go up. Let's see here. And right now I'm just kind of loosening up and playing and just seeing what shapes I can come up with. Let's see here. So like this is kind of fun. And I might go back and just go in and touch up. Maybe extend that out a little bit there. Touch that up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and let's do,
Off the page. You can zoom out.
oops.
Thank you. Didn't mean to stop you mid-stroke.
Could try to enhance that broken up brush area a little bit or smooth it out. Just depends on what look you want. Maybe I'll leave it rough like that. That's another fun way to do it. Let's see. I'm not really good with the brush manipulation like Carl Rohr's type of S or anything. But might do something like that and then clean that up.
Can you zoom out, please, before you start? Thank you.
Oh, I'm not going to do another. I was just touching
Great.
this one up.
Thanks.
Okay. And let's see. How about the something like that. This one doesn't really need a lot of touching up. Kind of happens maybe a little bit on this right in here. But in this case, what I'm doing with the brush in the pointed nib is I'm just using the nib to kind of clean up. The brush is making the marks, and then I've only used the pointed nib just to kind of retouch or to maybe, you know, pull out of a line here. Here I used it to kind of clean up a little bit. Here I drew in a little bit more on that thin. I think I only came up like this with that thin line when I did the brush, and then I extended it with the pointed nib. And here I don't really need much. I kind of like what's happening there. I might refine this turn right here. You can see right here, this is like this turn right here needs a little bit of touch up like that, tiny bit. And then this turn right in here, just a little bit of touch up like that. This curve into here, there's a little bit too, I'm not going to do it right now, but if I were to touch this up, take my time, there's this tapering right here that seems to happen a bit too abruptly. For some reason I can't see. I might just come in like this and refine that a little bit. I'm really not seeing well right now, so I'm not sure why. I think it's too dark. So that made it a little bit too rough there. But anyway, those are the kinds of things that I would look at later and refine and touch up.
The page.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So there are some S's. Just kind of plain. I like what's happening with that one. It would be fun to do something with that. All right. All right. Oh, it's from yesterday. Oh, let's try that. Let me get. I need some more of this rough paper. Hold on.
You left that P there on purpose.
I did not. I forgot it was under there. But I like it. You know, and that might be a fun one to do with that pointed brush. Okay, and what did I do with my pointed brush? There it is. All right. So let's look at it real quick. And again, some of the letters you created yesterday, trying them with the different tools today, that's kind of fun to do. Oh, that's what I wanted to do, is go back to some of the letter forms I created yesterday and try them with a different tool. So here's the P that I did yesterday. I'm gonna move it over to the side a little bit, so my hand doesn't hit. I could put pressure there, come down like that if I want, and then then I would have to do this stroke like how, with a little bit of thickness there. And I might have to come in now. I could leave it like that, or I can add some more thickness to it, which I would do right now. Okay, refine this edge. Now this is where I would refine the edge with my nib. I'd go back and I'll add some more thickness with my brush, and then use my nib to come in and refine some of these turns. And maybe add some length to this because the P gets stopped a little too, I think I got a little too far away. So maybe I need to add some thickness to this. I think that curves in a little too much. Also, maybe this needed to come in a little bit closer to here. So this is the kind of stuff that I would think about revising, you know, trying it again with my brush and seeing if I can make that move. And then, let's see, let's try this stroke first. Do something like that, and then come around with that brush. Do this. Maybe come a little closer to that, like that. And then go back in and do some refining. You know, adding this thickness here to clean that up, cleaning up this corner. Adding a little bit more thickness out here. Oops. Also changing this turn slightly in here. So now you're seeing that process that I used to touch up my letters in my alphabet book. Just by using the pointed nib to kind of fix things, change the curves a little bit, refine the edges. If I didn't like the way that moved, okay? So looking at my alphabet from yesterday, which was, you know, I had these I came up with, and then I had the letter A, which I did, you know, something like this. I can go back with a different tool. This is the Coit pen. I could go back in and refine this if I want, or I can add more features to it. And then if I want, I could say, oh, well, maybe I want to add a little bit more thickness to this stroke. Maybe I'll do it with this first. No, with this first. Add some thickness. Maybe more thickness on this side. And then go back in and touch up. Yeah, that's better. A little bit of thicker on the left, thinner on the right. And then maybe use my nib to come in and add some things like I could do this. And finish, how do I want to finish up those ends? So maybe I'll just square them off. And then fix these edges, fix this turn. Okay. So this is how I refine the letter forms a little bit using this tool. And you don't have to use an Esterbrook. You can use any kind of pointed nib to do this.
This is just your favorite.
I just like to use this one, yeah. Yeah, there's
Wow.
a few things that this has to be finagled a little bit more. Like I want to, it's not quite very neat there. Okay. What
Wild
was the
Woman,
question?
why is Sumi versus another ink?
Oh, I don't know. I just like the black. I like the way it dries. I like the shine on the paper and how it sits on the paper after it's dry. So yeah, it's just you can use any kind of ink that you're comfortable with. Also, what I like about Sumi is because it does sit up on the paper, it doesn't bleed as much as certain other types of ink. So speaking of paper.
And I was going to say, speaking of Sumi, look at your hand.
Oh yeah, this is Julie. This is me. Let me.
Wild Woman, can
Yes.
you talk about the different Sumi inks?
Sure. Well, my favorite is the Moon Palace. Moon Palace Sumi, and it comes in the bottle like this. It doesn't say Moon Palace on it. I mean, if you read Chinese, I think this is Chinese. But that's my favorite, Moon Palace. But I have other ones that I've used. It's just my favorite. I like the way it flows from the tools and from the tools. So it's my favorite.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So let's move on to, let's do something with the fine line applicator, just some letters. This is my watered down one. I watered down one of my whites because I was trying a certain effect, but it doesn't work on this paper. So I think it's this one. All right, so yeah, so different letters, different tools. Now I'm gonna switch gears and I'm gonna make some letters with my fine line applicator. Let's just stick with my S. Is that a warning?
Half an hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
You know. I don't know if this is a good S. No, it's not a good S. I just like to play, see what happens with it. Maybe something like that. No. How about, what if I were to make a solid S? What would it look like? Could do something like that. That work? No, that looks like a B. No, if we came down like this, we can make it look like an S. Let's try that again. That's kind of like funky looking. Looks like a doughboy or something. Pillsbury doughboy. S. Hmm. No, this one. Just playing. What happens if we do something like that? And then like that. Kind of like the Sherry Kiesel type of letters.
You know, I found a handout recently that I believe that those letters came from Jean Formal.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said that they weren't originally Sherry Kiesel.
We all
I
call
should
them
stop saying that maybe.
Right. I mean, she adapted them from, I believe, from Jean
Okay.
Formal.
Jean Formal. Okay. Thank
Formal.
you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So just playing with the different tools and seeing what happens with this is kind of fun. I'm running out of paper.
Right. See how that needle goes in there? Very
Yeah.
important.
So this has got to go back in here. Otherwise, it dries up right away. There we go. And you could also try it with, again, with the Sumi in there. So I'm going to try a different letter. Let's see. How about a W?
How about a W?
I haven't done many W's.
Really? No J's, no W's in your life.
W is one I like to try a lot. So usually I tend to go with the narrow hump first and then the wider hump. But if I go wider hump into narrow, it kind of looks like you're swinging into a U or something. So I tend to stay away from that. I do the narrow first and then the wide like that. Let's see. Do something like that. Whoops, off the page. So these are so expressive that it's kind of hard for me to do something like that and maybe like that. And then if you want, you could go in and take your pointed tool and do stuff with the ink that's there. So like this might be a fun one. It's over to the right, so I'm going to do stuff with this. So maybe, taking this area and really, pulling that ink out and really using this as a feature of the letter. Maybe coming down. Maybe I use this as my feature. I round this area. Same with this right in here, maybe adding a little bit of a rounder stroke right there. And then coming up with this one and doing the same. So I'm just pulling that puddle up. Rounding this area. And then round this up here at the top a little bit more. That could be, one of the features of this letter is these rounded kind of blobby areas. Okay. Let's do this here. Just using the ink that's already on there just to kind of touch it up a little bit. That's kind of a fun letter. Ooh, that's kind of fun. I like that.
Yeah, that is. And I also like it together with that one on the left.
Which, this one?
Far left.
This one?
Keep going left.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, this is kind of fun, actually. I would go back and maybe, yeah, no, this is good. This is touching up really nice. I'm liking that feature there. Once I touched that up, I liked that. So use that fine line applicator to your advantage, because you're going to get these blobs, you know, every time you pause, and you can pull that ink out with your pointed nib and, you know, maybe enhance those features a little bit. It's kind of fun. Okay.
So Wild Woman, there's a question. What do you suggest people do with all these letters?
What do you do with them? Yes.
Yeah.
So you could do exactly what we did with them. You can make an alphabet, an alphabet book where you have this kind of an alphabet book. Hold on, I gotta put this down so it doesn't get ruined. So you can do what our study group did, and you can make pages like this of your, just cut out your favorites and then Xerox them or scan them and make yourself a whole book of all these different types of letters. This is not an alphabet book like what I do in my class. This is an alphabet book of ideas. So your assignment could be, you just make a bunch of, go through the whole alphabet, or get together with friends and say, you're going to do A, G, you know, M, and N, and then somebody else is going to do something else. And then each person can do this, and you can send them to each other, send your pages to each other, and create a whole book of ideas. So this could be your idea book, your alphabet book, alphabet idea book. And from these later, you can create, you know the exercise that we did yesterday of creating a cohesive alphabet. So this is where Inside Curve came from. So my Inside Curve class, that alphabet came from this. And then we went through the exercise and we did something like this yesterday, trying to go through that. But you can create a whole alphabet from these. Here's another Inside Curve. This was K. That was a K that I did, a lowercase. My Inside Curve alphabet is mostly uppercase. But, you know, creating an alphabet from something like that, that's the O shape. So how would the rest of that alphabet look? So this could be the little assignment that you would maybe do, is create your own pages like this of your favorites. Like I've only done 10 or so, but if you do, you know, say you do 50 of them, and then you cut out 10 of your favorites. Doing 50, it's like a lot, and that way you'll probably find 10 that you really, really like. For me, like today, only doing 10, there's a lot I don't like. So I would just keep working and working and working, moving my hand and doing different things until I found 10 that I really, really liked. It doesn't have to be 10, it could be 15, whatever fits on a page. Okay. So let's see, where are we at for time here?
20 minutes.
Well, yeah, about 20 minutes. So what I would suggest now is, let me just kind of talk about how I got to some of these, which I already wrote, the fine line applicator with opaque white and Prismacolor pencils. Tomorrow, what we're going to do, pardon?
He's on page 7.
Yeah, page 7. So what I want to do for tomorrow is, let's spend the next few minutes. I'm going to work on good paper, because tomorrow what I'd like it to do is dry so that we can come back in and add color and learn some of my coloring techniques. Tomorrow we're also going to work with walnut ink and dropping color in. So if you look at page, on page 10, you see 2 examples, and I'll show you these tomorrow. I'll show them the real examples. It's hard to see this right now, but let me just brighten this a little bit. Oh, there it goes.
And pages 22 and 23 are detailed.
Yeah, so you'll see that this is a piece where I dropped in color into walnut ink. You can kind of see it there. And then here is where I dropped color and metallic gold into the walnut. So tomorrow, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do some of these pieces where we drop in the color. Also, I'll show you, we're going to do this tomorrow. So you'll need to have your gel pen, or you can just use some Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White and a fine point nib to create these, or a gel pen. So some of you may not have had time to get some of these supplies. Run out to Walgreens or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever find a gel pen and some black paper, and that's all you need, and some colored pencils for tomorrow to do this. So we're going to work on that tomorrow. And we're going to also we're going to learn, so I added these pages into here
Right.
after my last class, the drop-in color techniques. So we'll try walnut dropped in with color. We'll try sumi dropped in with gold. We'll try walnut dropped in with gold. Some watercolor. This is watercolor. This is very dark, so you can't see it. But using like Payne's Gray and dropping in some other watercolors into that. And then just making little letters or little shapes or whatever, just to kind of get these techniques. And then we'll also do, if you want to do white on black today, do a few white on black words, which I'm going to do right now. And then we can come back and try some of these colored pencil techniques or pastels. I don't really do pastels in this class, but colored pencils is fine. That's all we need to do. All right. So yeah. And so I'm going to do just a word, and I'm going to let it dry for tomorrow in just a kind of a funky way. And you should do the same. Do some words today, let them dry, so that tomorrow you have something to color in. And let me just get this. So like I'm going to write a word. What's a good word?
Shebang.
Shebang. And however you want to write it, you can write it in the way we were practicing cursive. You can write it upper, alternating upper and lower case, which I think I might do here. Might do something like this. Using exaggerated characteristics if you want. Might do my E like this. Here's a lowercase a. Maybe throw that up, flourish, and do a G like this. Okay? So when I do stuff like this, I talk about negative space and the space in between letters. Actually, I might bring this out a little bit more. Touch that up later. The space in between letters is what I like to do as far as dropping in color. So adding a little bit of colored pencil here, or somewhere in here, and maybe here, okay? So having a few of these on black paper is really fun. We can try some stuff tomorrow with them. We'll also be doing our decorated letter on black paper tomorrow. And I would not recommend you using the fine line applicator because you have to be a little bit more precise. So using some Dr. Martin's bleed proof white in a cup with a fine pointed tool, or getting a gel pen and using that on black paper tomorrow. So now we'll have something to color in tomorrow if you do it this way. Also, some of your practice words today, if you're done on good paper. So I'll get one of these and maybe I'll use my sumi. And then tomorrow, after it's dry, I can come back and color it in. So maybe I'll use this one. And I'll do psychedelic. I'm also crossing over my letters because I want to maybe add color into them there. Psychedelic. Okay. So tomorrow I'll have something I can maybe add some color to in between here. All right. So even practicing tonight, just doing some of these free form words like I did from that exercise. What's the one that was our handwriting exercise? I don't have my handouts right here.
Number 4?
Number 4, yeah. Trying some of those more free form kind of writing things with your cursive, or doing caps like this where they cross over, gives you little areas later that maybe you can come in with some color. This is one of the things I love to do a lot. I like to just play on good paper and then just go back in and color them. Is that an alarm?
I don't know.
No, it's not. Okay. My phone is vibrating. All right, sorry. Yeah, and then just maybe coming in with my Brody tool and doing one more word, and then I'll have something tomorrow with splatters that I can show. Shazam.
Love that word.
Yeah. Ooh, there's the splatter I like. Touch that up just a bit.
Is this Arches Textflow? Is this a watercolor paper?
This is Fabriano Artistico watercolor, cold press. So it's rough. Okay. So there's Shazam. Tomorrow we'll go in and do something with that. So letting these dry, putting them in a safe spot so that they're not smearing. Okay. What else? Tomorrow, I want to save stuff like, save some of your Arches Text Wove, and maybe if you have Knitigan or something, we'll do some walnut ink on those. That's a really nice treatment on that. I see that somebody has a question. What is the...
Right, I was about to type an answer in, the difference between hot and cold press paper.
Oh, yes, thank you. So the cold press is rough, hot press is smooth. And that literally is in the process of making the paper. Cold press means they leave it bumpy and textured, and then hot press means they calendar it. They run it through a machine that's a big wheel, a big drum, and it smooths all the fibers down. It's a heating process too, hence the term hot press. Okay, so any questions, any words that you want to see demonstrated? Any other techniques?
Now that you asked that question, words are going to start popping up in the chat, so stand by.
Hold on a second. I'm going to look at my handouts just to make sure that I'm showing you what I want to show you. Oh, okay. So here's one of the things real quick. You know, these are some really nice inspirational letters that I found. This is an Amra, I don't know how to say his name, I-M-R-E Reiner from the 40s. You know, even letters like this, thinking of adding color tomorrow. You know, if I were to do a letter like that, you know, maybe I don't do exactly the same way he did it, but I might use this as inspiration and then come back tomorrow and add some color to that. Let's see here. So this is kind of like a continuous line type of thing, you know, doing something like this. All right, I'm not going to do exactly what he's doing there because I don't want to have it completely be copied there. But coming up like this, up in here, and maybe doing this, and coming like this. And I lost my train of thought. Where does he go with the rest? I'm just going to go up to here. Okay, so that's like a continuous line type of thing. That could be really fun. It would be nice to crisscross this right down here. But even how he added this color bar here, later we can add different colors, or we can come in and add shapes. You know, right now I could just add black shapes if I want, or leave them alone. But being influenced by other type designers like this kind of thing, and adding color to this later will be fun. Okay, so make sure you look at the handouts because I did choose things. Oh, here's one. This is a fun letter, you know, something like this where I drew it with the fine line applicator and then went in with some color tomorrow. That's another thing we're going to try. We're going to do the decorated letter, and we'll try something like that K that you see right there on your handouts on the cover. So, you know, drawing the letter K. This is just one that I kind of came up with. I'm using a different tool now. I'm just using my Brody tool to do this one. I could do something like, oh, I'm way off the page there. Sorry.
Thank you. I was answering in the chat, sorry.
Okay, so then, you know, just doing this a little bit differently, not with the fine line applicator, and then coming in tomorrow, adding color, or using another tool like my pointed pen to make those lines around there, you know, like this kind of line. Okay. And then tomorrow we can come in and add some color to these. So just play today and use some good paper, because the good paper is where you're going to start to get these better lines. You'll get, you know, a lot better. Your tools will respond a lot better on the good paper. Okay. So do a few on good paper so that tomorrow we can come in, add watercolor, we can add colored pencil. We'll play with writing some letters in walnut ink on your good paper and then dropping in color, and we'll do our decorated letters. Okay.
Wild Woman, for the decorated letter, is there anything you want people to have to be able to transfer the letters to their paper?
You don't need to oh, good point. Sorry. Yeah, so you might want to just do some pencil, and you can actually, we're going to just trace these. So you're just going to, we're just going to do pencil on the back of these letters, and then you're going to just transfer them onto your good paper. So you don't even need tracing paper for this. You're just going to take your handout, put graphite behind it, and then you're going to transfer it onto the good paper. But if you would rather not dirty up your handouts, that's fine. You can just trace this on a piece of tracing paper and then transfer the back. You could put some graphite on the back of your tracing paper and do it that way. But you don't have to have tracing paper. I don't think I put that in the handouts or in your supply list. So you can just transfer right from these letters that I gave you. And they're nice and big. So and this is just Helvetica black. So it's not anything fancy, but you can do this technique with your own letter. You can create your own letters and do it with your own. I just made it easy for you and used Helvetica black. So that's the name of this font, by the way. All right. Any questions? No questions?
We are caught up in the chat.
All right. So where are we at for time? I don't want to end too soon. Oh, about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
we can
amazed.
unmute people if they want. We'll keep it recording and unmute people, and if they have questions, they can ask. I'm looking for my cap before everything dries. So go ahead
Okay.
and unmute, and then.
So I'm going to unmute everyone, and if you have a problem unmuting, shoot me a text and I chat, and I should be able to help you with that. But everyone now should be able to unmute themselves.
Okay. Here it is.
I'm amazed that no one put a word that they want you to do in the chat. First
That's okay.
time. Yeah, I'm just so surprised.
So Julie,
Yes.
with the larger Helvetica letters, are you using just gel pen, or could you use Dr. Martin's? And if
Yeah.
you were doing that, would you have to consider whether one is going to bleed or?
Yeah, no, if you don't have a gel pen, and sometimes gel pens don't work very well. So that's why I was saying you can use some Dr. Martin's bleed proof white in a cup and then use your pointed nib to do that tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
No, and
but
it doesn't
then,
bleed.
does it have an issue then? You're gonna be using something dry with it then?
Well,
like a
we'll get to that first so that it dries and we can later come back in and put some color.
Yeah, but if you're filling in or playing with it, you'd be using a material that wouldn't wreck the Dr. Martens, right?
Yeah, we're just going to use colored pencils.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah, we're doing color pen because we're doing white on black. So
Yeah.
you really can't fill it in with watercolor. You
No,
could
I
do it
know.
with wash. You could do it with wash, but excuse me.
Careful.
But you don't, no, I just do that decorated letter with the colored pencils.
Okay, just
Okay,
checking.
yeah. Because I don't want it to, I don't want that white to get wet.
Yeah, okay, perfect. That's what I figured, but just in
Okay.
case.
Wild Woman, can you please do the word Xanadu?
Xanadu with any tool
Any two.
that I want.
Enjoy yourself.
I'll do it on some text wove so that I can have something nice for tomorrow. Any tool in any style that I want.
Whatever you want. The request was just the word.
And I smeared right there. We'll put a little dot there later. It's because my hands have ink everywhere.
I am so surprised.
Yeah. Look, see, that's my hand right now.
I can bring you over some baby wipes.
I have baby wipes right next to me right now. And I could do kind of, well, that already looks like an Akeem type of thing. I could do my
Right.
U like an Akeem. I could do Xanadu like that. Or let's see. So that's where I would get maybe into like a bouncier, you know, my handwriting style a little bit. This probably should have been a little bit more curved, this stroke here, because I wound up being curvy and bouncy. So that looks a little too straight. But when you're writing on the fly, you don't always necessarily know how it's going to turn out. So then you can do it again. So I liked this. Might do something like that for that one. And, you know, I could do something like that too if I want and add that later. Although that got a little too thick, so maybe I would thicken this stroke up just a bit. I could come in with my pointed nib and mimic that, you know, these strokes here, or this stroke here, and add this just to match that thickness of that, and maybe add the thickness somewhere else. That's where I would start touching up. You know, maybe the thickness would happen here, somewhere in the middle. I could come back in and make this stroke a little bit thicker with a little bit of the rough edge. And then I would touch this stroke up, thicken that. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. I don't like that right there. But that's the beauty of, you know, well, if you don't mind wasting paper, I do this a lot where I just keep trying it until I really like what happens.
But every time Julie makes a paper purchase, I get a text, I'm making a paper purchase, what do you want? But I am on a paper moratorium.
Yeah, Karen has to stop buying paper right now.
That is correct.
So now I'm getting a little bit more of the look that I want, a little bit more even look, you know. So anyway, so I have lots of these little samples to use for tomorrow to show you different techniques.
Great. And Julie, we are at time.
Cool. All right, I will stop the recording.
Wait, stand by.
Oh, don't stop it yet.
Okay, everyone should be able to go to gallery view, and that's it. And
Should I
everyone,
stop recording?
go ahead.